All right, guys, how's it going? So we're talking about George Mendes again, or is it Jorge Mendes? Jorge. We're calling him George. All right, super agent. You know, we spoke about him in an earlier video today, and we speak about him all the time. You know, he's from the Chesterfield agency. He represents Liverpool players, former Liverpool players, stacks of players that have been linked with Liverpool in recent years, and one in particular is Pedro Neto. And if you followed my channel for a long time, you will know that we've spoke about him on and off. We spoke about him recently, but we spoke about him more some time ago. And you know my memory's terrible, right? You know I like a laugh and a giggle, but I have got a shit memory. And what makes things worse when it comes to recalling when there was transfer links to do with Liverpool, or when I spoke to you about a particular player, is that period of the pandemic. Up until then, I used to be able to say, right, we spoke about him last summer, or we spoke, do you know what I mean? And then we had the pandemic where football was stopped and then, you know, played behind closed doors, and it just threw out my clock with which transfer window we are referring to. So some of you will remember, if you were to, you know, dig through my channel on here, you'd probably find those videos. I don't think it's really relevant, to be honest with you, but I do know that at the time I told you this claim, or I claimed that Liverpool had arranged for Pedro Neto to undergo some medical examinations. And this was transfer related, but it wasn't a medical that we know that term, right? When it's like personal terms have been agreed, a fee has been accepted by the players' holding club, that the player has now been given permission to undergo a medical. It wasn't to undergo a medical to complete a deal to Liverpool. It was Liverpool and his club, Wolves, have agreed for the player to undergo some medical tests that Liverpool wanted to arrange. And it was the first time I'd ever heard this mentioned. I'd never heard of it before. And it was a bit strange. It was a bit of a strange claim because of that. However, the source of this was, well, let me rephrase this. The source is a KopTalk VIP member. The information was posted on the VIP members website, and also I was made aware of additional information by email. And the original source, not the member, whoever was behind the member in his ear, this is where we've got to be careful, was, let's just play with the words a little bit, involved with the medical setup at Liverpool Football Club, right? So if this was your friend, right, telling you this, and you knew exactly where they worked and in what capacity, and they told you this, you wouldn't doubt it in a million years, right? So it was really, really strong. It wasn't like just like a bullshit claim that had been run by me or something. And also the character, as Brendan Rodgers would say, character. The character of the member on the members website, spot on, right? So totally trust this person, totally trust the source, his source, and the claims that were being made. The reason why I'm emphasizing all of that is because I found it just a little bit strange. I'm like, what? So a club's allowing Liverpool to have their player medically examined, but there's no bid gone in that we're aware of, no bid being accepted, and it's not to complete a transfer. So in other words, the club gave the blessing. It wasn't something that Liverpool were doing without his club knowing. How could they get away with that? That just couldn't happen. But we'll allege. We'll use the word allegedly. Rumours. This is all alleged. You know what I mean? But it just left me at the time thinking, this sounds a bit strange. You know what I mean? And since then, I've always said to you guys, keep an eye on Pedro Neto and Liverpool, right? And don't forget, Liverpool have a great relationship with this agent. Now, sometimes I make these videos and I say to you, don't understand it, guys, and you'll come back to me and say, me neither, Dunk. And then I'll say to you, but maybe, you know, in the future, we might be able to work it out, you know, like what happened there? Like, you know, and in the future, sometimes you look back and you go, that was it. Now, I've read something today And I'm wondering if this is related, right? So we know I don't follow this player like, every move or everything or this, Wolves or anything. We're linked with players all the time. It's impossible to track everything and every injury. But I know that this player had a serious injury at one time. And I think it was around then. And, maybe you can help me by placing this in date, chronological order, whatever it's called. Is that right? I don't know. I've just read this article and thought, I wonder if that's it, because it must have had that. It must have been a serious injury for Liverpool to say we'd like to have him checked. And I assume if nothing happened after them, which it didn't, you would have to assume that Liverpool were like too much of a risk. Okay, maybe they had a good relationship with Wolves. If any of this happened, because we don't know, right? But it just fascinates me when something happens and everything sounds strange, but all the people involved telling you this would never mislead you. It's incredible. So, this article today, right? Let me try and I need to I can't read this entire thing to you, and some of it's I've translated. It doesn't make sense if I was to go through everything. Let's just try and do it right. You can tell I'm buzzing with this, can't you? I might be wrong, all right? I might be wrong. This is nothing to do with Liverpool. Me saying that we're going to sign Pedro Neto. You can stop watching right now. This is for us that like to look into things a little bit and try and find answers. So, George Mendes has given an interview, which is on the front page. There's obviously the interview's not on the front page, but it's a big deal of this paper called Record in Portugal. So it's a special, he's on the front page, probably got a pose like that, something like that. And then inside there'll be this big interview. It's a long interview when he's talking about many transfers. And he was speaking about, how just in general, let's cut out all the guff that we don't need to focus on, right? I'm sure it's very interesting, but I don't think we need to know about it. So he talks about Pedro Neto. Let's focus on Pedro Neto, because he's talking about many of his clients and how he does business with these Portuguese clubs and moves them on and how it works and all that, right? Now, with regards Pedro Neto, he claimed that player, his client, could have actually been sold for 100 million euros at some point, but it didn't happen because of a physical problem. Now, he doesn't mention the club, who it is, what it is, or anything. So immediately I'm thinking, was this what Liverpool, was this Liverpool, right? And he said, right, waffle. I'm not going to read all of it to do with Pedro Neto, but he said, he got back, he was about to go to Benfica, but then he went to Wolves. And he wasn't sold for more than 100 million euros because he got injured. It's my life and what fulfills me and what I'll continue to do. In fact, we've got the front page here. This is the front page. I told you, didn't I? But you know what I mean? It's a big deal. It's the front page. I don't understand any of that shite, but that's that's the special. Okay, they're on the front page. Now, see, the quotes are translated, so probably some of that didn't make sense. But the suggestion is that he could have been sold for 100 million euros for more than 100 million euros to an unnamed club. Now, I think So you said it at the time Pedro Neto was about to go to Benfica, but he went to Wolves. And he wasn't sold for more than 100 million euros because he got injured. Okay. See, this is the thing when you get these articles that are translated into English, because you lose bits, don't you? He was loaned by Braga to Lazio in the summer of 2017 with the Serie A side paying a 7.5 million euros fee. In 2019, the deal was made permanent for 11 million euros. When they completed that operation, Wolves already had an eye on him and immediately paid 17.9 million euros for his signing. Mendes doesn't make it clear which injury stopped his 100 million euro transfer, 100 million plus euro transfer. But the article says, but it's probably the knee issue from 2021, which sidelined him for nearly a year. So you could look at this. I don't know. What do you think about this? If I'm right here, he's saying an injury stopped a 100 million plus euros transfer, but it doesn't say which one. Now, I don't know if he's saying prior to going to Wolves or when he was at Wolves. And in my opinion, it has to be when he was at Wolves, because the figures prior to them were not astronomical figures. Usually then the step up to go to the Premier League, they attract a lot of interest. As you know, a lot of these players come in for small amounts of some of the smaller clubs, no disrespect. And then the big clubs are like, oh, we want him. And then the smaller clubs go, cry off, we've got 100 million for him now. Yeah, I'm 99.9% certain he's talking about Wolverhampton. This is his quotes that have been translated. Pedro Neto had played 5 minutes at Braga and left for Lazio because the president trusted what we told him. In the meantime, he got back, that must be the president, what he had paid. At the time, Pedro Neto was about to go to Benfica, but he went to Wolves. And he wasn't sold for more than 100 million euros because he then got injured. So he's talking about after he went to Wolves, isn't he? It's my life and what fulfills me and what I'll continue to do. He's just talking about his career in general. So Mendes doesn't make it clear which injury stopped the 100 million plus transfer, but it's probably the knee issue from 2021, which sidelined him for nearly a year, which would have been around the time after then that I was making them claims, because the pandemic was 2020, 21, all that bullshit or something, I don't know. Maybe it's irrelevant, maybe you don't give a shit, but I do, because when you make these videos and claims sometimes, people watch your videos and think, is he telling the truth? Does he know what he's talking about? Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you just can't put, what it is, you can't work it out. And then later on you go, it was fucking that, wasn't it? So were Liverpool trying to sign him or willing to pay that kind of money for Pedro Neto, which would surely explain why his club went, fucking, you could send him to docks, have a nose, you do what you fucking want. Yeah, then we'll do business if it's all right. But nothing happened. And I've banged on about, every time I talk about Pedro Neto, I briefly, 30 minutes in each video, refer to that situation, that alleged situation, where I've got to say alleged because Wolves must have known. You can't have a player go I'd be checked over someone else's player. That's just never going to happen in a million years. Well, unless it's done through third parties, it's nothing to do with the club. As Rafa was, I even fucking got that wrong then. Club, as Rafa Benitez would say, yeah, for sure. He says, I'm just going to go and get checked out. And then the documents were secretly fed to Liverpool. I don't believe that. I'm not having that. But the guys, you have to trust me on this, right? The original source, not the KopTalk member, right? The original source would know about this, all right? I can't say is employed, and I can't say was employed, because I don't want to give, do you know what I mean? Like any additional stuff out there. It would sound better if I told you a bit more details about who the source was, and you'd go, ooh, but it might, put someone in a position and get into trouble, or maybe even lose a job. You never know, do you? That's it. What do you think? Does that explain why that never happened? Because if you followed my videos at the time and I said that, you must have thought, what are you on about? A medical that's not a medical. No transfer fee agreed. But his club are letting him be checked over. Maybe at the time, maybe Wolves were thinking, I don't know, maybe there'd been talks before the injury, maybe the interest was back on, but Liverpool were like, well, we're not paying 100 million now. Maybe the 100 million was from before and that didn't happen because of the injury. And maybe Wolves were thinking, well, if we can get some money for him, let's fucking get rid of him. And Liverpool hey, we're not fucking stupid, we'll have him checked first, see how that goes. And it never happened. But the thing is, he still gets mentioned with Liverpool all the time. We know Jurgen really likes him. We know that. That's not one of them Jurgen Klopp is an admirer shit. We know he really likes him. There's nothing to suggest there's anything there now, but I still watch things to do with Pedro Neto. Anyway, so I'm just looking to see if there's anything in the news about him at the moment. Looks like Arsenal and Manchester City are being linked with him. I'd really like to read that one, but it's in Spanish. Un momento, por favor. See if I can work it out. I tell you, it's a done deal and everything. I've translated it wrong. Right, I want to see what date is this. This is October 23. Young player, young promise. The club long term. And he wants to stay at Wolves long term, despite having a low key start to his career and 2 serious injuries. He's done all right. His impressive games, performances has led to a lot of talk about a possible move to a big European club during the January transfer window. This was claimed back in October. Arsenal, Liverpool linked. However, the indication here is he's not asked or doesn't want to leave mid-season. He's under contract, it says, till 2027. But the rumours continue that Wolves could sell him in the future. And then there's talking about FFP, financial fair play at Wolves. I don't know anything about that. The club's financial situation could affect the decision. But basically it's going along the line that he loves being at Wolves and that. So I wanted to read that one because it's a reasonably good Spanish source that I wanted to just check that. So what do you think? Does that are you with me with this? Could we? I think it was us. And that would explain a lot regarding that, doesn't it? Do you not think? Or am I completely fucking wrong? Let me know. Okay, what time are we on? It's bloody hell, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Where the fuck has today gone? Right, okay. So the weather, I think, might be getting better in England. I don't know. I'm due to go to England tomorrow morning, early morning as well. Fucking up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I fucking hate shit like that. So if everything goes to plan and I get to my hotel all right in the morning, I should be able to update things normally, you know, while I'm on my moves. I don't know if I want to take my laptop with me. It's only a 2-night break, so but I can make videos. Should be around as usual. Well, never fucking no idea with all that going on. So yeah, it looks like tomorrow's going okay. And for those of you that saw my other video when I mentioned Charlotte, I did hear from her today. She's just resting. She's gone from the sofa, from the bed to the sofa, but she's still unwell. All right, so nothing major, guys. Well, she's really unwell. She had to go to A&E at the weekend. She wasn't feeling great, but let's hope she's on the mend. So I appreciate that. Oh, also, there's nothing more to do with Liverpool in this video. Edit. Oh, I don't think that was the last. There we go. I just want to give a little shout out actually to, from memory, Dominic, Wire, FuzZZBalL, and Kyle's Nape. Is it 4,000? Kyle's. Those guys bought me a super chat thingy, which is like having a drink, coffee or alcoholic drink, whichever you feel okay with doing. And I've added your names to the video description of all my videos for 2024 as just a little thank you. That's all. It's just my little list. So have a look in the video description. You'll see who supported me so far this year. If your name should be in there. And I've missed you out, please let me know. This isn't like members, subscribers and stuff because there'd be too many. This is people that have, used the super chat thingy-majiggy or whatever it's called to get me a drink at some point. Whether it's coffee or something a little bit stronger. And you should read the video description anyway because there's, different links in there, which includes my my mailing list. You know, I haven't sent an update out on there for ages, but I fully intend to get something on there shortly for you. So if you read the video description, you can sign up to the newsletter, which, just things have been a bit difficult the last few months. I tend to go out with a laptop to do those updates, which basically that means I haven't had the opportunity to go once to my local cafe for a coffee in the morning to do the updates. But it's on my mind, and yeah, just read the video description. You'll see the other bits and pieces. If you like getting the odd email and things like that. The email thing I really want to step up a bit, to be honest with you. And that's how KopTalk started originally, back in the 1990s. It wasn't a website. Initially, it was a mailing list. We didn't have like websites and all that around then when it started, really. It was the start of all of that. And overseas Liverpool supporters couldn't really get any news to do with Liverpool Football Club. It was very difficult for them. Obviously today we've got social media, but KopTalk was around before Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Google, everything really. But before it was a website, it was actually a mailing list. I used to send emails out to Liverpool fans all over the world. Like, I felt like I was doing a little service and that. And it was very, very popular. And some of you guys, were with me 1998 sort of time, with that. And yeah. So I'm trying to, like, it's funny how we've gone full circle from like newsletters, emails or whatever, and gone all the way back to it, because you think that people are not really bothered about emails, but I don't know. I quite like receiving an email to do with news and stuff, providing it's not like full of fucking adverts and a load of shite. I just like plain text me, man. Just tell me the brief. That's all I need to do. It doesn't need to be fancy or out like that. So if any of you have supported the mailing list at any time, I haven't forgot about you. I just haven't sent out a new update soon. But when I get back from England, hope I get back from England, I'll be on with it. I've been thinking about it a lot last few days. So yeah, it's in the video description, guys. All right, listen, if you appreciate this video, please thumbs up. Please leave me a comment. Really want to know your thoughts on this one, because it's very interesting for me. Might not be for you. You might be like, so what? Doesn't matter. To me, it's really interesting. And if you do want to add, your name to the comment section below, you can get me a coffee or a vodka. Yeah, all right, man. All right, I need to crack on because I've got loads to do. All right, guys, speak to you in a bit. All right.